Happy Friday. Thank you for being here. It's the Three Musketeers, the usuals, the regulars, but we may have more pop on. Real quick, 3 announcements. I was just going to have 2 recognitions, but now I have an announcement. Shaun T's new program came out. It's just 7 new workouts, but still very exciting. It's coming in June, so guys keep talking about that. But I guess what I would say is maybe don't overhype it because it's 7 workouts. So even I was like, so just don't overhype it. Just for 70 workouts, but still super cool. Coming in June, and
it's a perfect opportunity if you don't have a challenge group to promote a 7-day group because Beachbody's doing it as a big event. So if you don't have a challenge group going in June, you make that a 7-day group with bod that your people can use.
I'm going to say that different. You could do that as a 7-day free group. There's no reason for you to ever not have a challenge group going on. That's just like not even an option.
Right.
But your 7-day freemium.
Yeah, they'll have to have the all access, I believe, to get it though. Okay. So, but yeah, hype it as an event.
Yeah. But you should never not have a challenge group. That's like non-option. My other 2 announcements where I want to congratulate Dawn, because I don't know if you guys know this, but she did not have to deal with the summit fiasco the other day that we all had to deal with because she was able to register early because Dawn is a Success Club All-Star. So high five to Dawn. Whoop, whoop. She's working towards legend right now, so that's super cool. But that's one of those reasons to be hitting Success Club every month because the rest of us had to put the good fight up on Wednesday to get registered for Summit. And I got logged off 4 times. I know Julie got logged off. I know Melanie struggled a little bit. So there's just another little, besides obviously the fact that means you're consistent working your business and helping people. A little bonus is not having to wait in line for the Summit registration. And my second recognition is I just want to shout out Cal1. She is joining us on the Coach Sneak Peek on Monday. And you guys, we all know how hard life can be for all of us. Everybody gets nervous, and Cal1 is one of those who is really stepping out of her shell right now, and so I'm really proud of her and excited for doing that. I don't have the link for it yet. I saw it at one point, and then I couldn't find it, so I messaged Taryn. But once we have it, we'll pop it in the group, so you guys can be sure to invite to that for Monday night. It's 6:30 MST, 5:30 PT, so on and so forth down the line, 7:30, blah, blah, blah. You can figure it out. Anyway, now we're going to chat a little bit about Shakeology. I'm kind of giggling because there's a 99% chance that Dawn and I have all the exact information because we didn't exactly discuss what we were going to break apart, but that's okay. And hopefully, well, there's 3 of us. We shared a little bit. We'll share our elevator story, which is basically what Shakeology does for us, our little quick thing. We'll do that after we share some fun facts. But here's what I just want to say. If you don't have both parts of this, it is hard to properly represent Shakeology. If you have all of this information that we're about to give you, but you don't have a good story to apply to this information, you're not going to reach people on an emotional level. However, if you have all these stories, but you can't tell people why Shakeology does all these things that you're talking about, you're not going to reach people on a logical level, and you need both of those things for them to fundamentally see the value of Shakeology. So that's why we're going over this today, because we want you guys to have the tools in your tool belt. Dawn, do you want to go first, since I've just been talking so long anyway?
I like listening to you talk.
Yeah, and plus she's looking up the sneak peek right now. She's trying to find it, but it can't be found. Melanie and I both looked forever and ever and ever. Amen.
Okay, you could have told me because I would have found it in like a second. That's okay.
Where did you find it?
I haven't yet. I was logging into my computer.
Oh, I was like, dude.
You want me to talk or not talk?
I want to see find it. I know you're looking for the sneak peek over there. I see you.
I can't find it. So, what do you want me to say about Shakeology?
What do you got? Give like your first chunk of notes, and I'll see if it's all the notes I have.
Okay, Okay, so the first thing I want us to think about when we're talking about Shakeology, so many times we jump in and say, there's so many superfoods, and it's got all this great stuff. And, like, I read a really interesting post the other day, and it was partially somebody just trying to get engagement. And their question was, hey, shake drinkers out there, when you're looking for a shake, what are you looking for? And it, gave a couple things, and, you put your little icon, and it asked, what do you care about most? It was like taste, flavor, nutritional value, cost, and it listed a bunch of things. And so I was reading the responses because I was sitting in the camper by myself, and really, like, these are shake drinkers, and their primary thing that they were looking for, what do we think that they cared most about?
You told me, so I don't want to guess.
Totally taste and cost. Like, that's what people cared about. They didn't care at all about the nutritional value. Now, we need to know the nutritional value, because once we get them interested, we need to be aware of that. But it's important that when we're sharing about Shakeology, we're not like, hey, check out my shake, it's got 70 superfoods. Because guess what? Like, I didn't know what a superfood was until like a year ago. And I had already been a coach for like a year. Like, what's a superfood? So make sure we're talking about like what it tastes like, how it makes us feel. Like, and then when we do talk cost, don't say like, oh, it's only $130 a bag. Like, we need to make it like relatable and not sound as overwhelming. We also need to start to understand how it's I don't want to say how it's processed because it makes it sound like all processed, but how Shakeology is created and formulated and put together. We don't need to know like all of the 100% ins and out details, because most of it will make our head spins, but we need to understand, because when you're talking about the cost, I don't understand how it's as cheap as it is after seeing how it's formulated and the lengths they go to for the ingredients, and to make sure that we're not just getting like the mock-up, but it's like the very highest grade from the very best soil, like off the side of a mountain, like whatever, like they're so we need to know a little bit of that. It's going to help you feel more comfortable in talking about, if that makes sense. But like Christine said, we need to be able to have that like quick 30-second like spiel. We want to call it that. We like to call it an elevator pitch. Quick example. I have a P.O. box right now because they don't deliver to a camper down by a lake. And so I went and I picked up my Shakeology. Guess what? When you get Shakeology, it comes in a big green box that says Shakeology. So the woman handed it to me and asked me a question about Shakeology. And so I'm able to say, well, hey, this shake is something that's been, and Christine took the word from Taryn and I took the word from Christine. It's been a staple in my nutrition for 2.5 years. I drink it every day because, and then I tell them I drink it every day because it helps me feel fuller longer. It helps cut the crud out of my cravings. It gives me more energy, and I know it's giving my body the nutrients it needs to do what it's supposed to do. Like, that's it. That's what I tell people. And then you get them on the hook for the more information. And then you kind of get, now, if you have more to your story, Shakeology helped me lose X number of pounds. Share that. Shakeology helped reduce my cholesterol from this to this. Shakeology helped reduce my blood pressure. If I have them interested in what I'm saying, I'll share, look, I didn't have high cholesterol or high blood pressure, but I have teammates who had, their blood pressure went down, or their cholesterol went down, or their meds got reduced, or their meds just completely disappeared. You just want to give that little bit. Does that make sense? All right, go ahead, Christine. I know you want to.
So I wanted to make sure that we have some facts in our tool belt, because many of the reasons I've had people come to me is because someone only has an elevator speech. And that's not enough. People are educating themselves. People want to know what they're getting. People do care more about ingredients these days, and they are taking more of an active responsibility for their health. So I looked up and I read an article from Beachbody that breaks it down, what all of this stuff that we read on the back of the label actually does, how and why. So the first word I'm going to give is oxidation reduction. And basically, the free radicals that can be caused by lousy diet and a stressful environment cause an imbalance between the free radicals that are normally in your body and antioxidant levels. Antioxidants bring that balance back, and it supports a healthy immune system. The ingredients that support this oxidation reduction are your camu, acerola cherry, bilberry, goji berry, green tea, and pomegranate. These are the things that help restore balance in your body and get rid of those free radicals that mess stuff up. And then here's the word we always hear, super greens, which also can mean phytonutrients. According to WebMD, because I actually went and got some extra information, consuming these can actually help prevent disease. And the things in Shakeology that have the super green or phytonutrients are moringa, chlorella, spirulina, spinach, and kale. Now, adaptogens, just like it sounds like, that help the body adapt and respond to the effect of stress. Shakeology's blend is carefully designed based on homeopathic research to promote this homeostasis, or our balance, our proper balance in the body. And those are your ashwagandha, astragalus, I know I'm saying these wrong, cordyceps, maca, matiki, reishi, and shishanda. That's the Shishandra. That's the one in the Tony Horton. Shishandra is scanning it across. And here is my favorite. I know that we have other companies that talk about gut health, and it's a new buzzword. And you know how I worry about buzzwords, because now keto is a new buzzword, and people keep talking about their keto bombs, and they forget that there's like other parts of the keto diet. Gut health. Well, they have this new product when we've already had gut health for years. Not only does Shakeology have prebiotic and probiotic, it has enzymes. So I'm going to break this down for you. Kind of like the enzymes. It's funny. Okay. Your probiotics are your Bacillus coagulans. Those are digestible forms of the beneficial bacteria that helps your stomach break down food and create important nutrients like short chains of fatty acid. So if we don't have this, we can't break down food. Just saying, not good. Prebiotics like your yakin root and your chicory root act as food for the bacteria. So you got that bacteria. Well, now you need your prebiotics. That's what feeds your probiotics. Here's the thing. The next time a Plexus Slim person tries throwing all their information at you, you need this. You need to know why your stuff is just as good as theirs, because they know why theirs is good. And this is where we have to be prepared. It can't just be about stories. Stories and unicorns farting rainbows are great, but you need facts on your side. So the prebiotics, like the yakin root and the chicory root, and again, we're getting these from natural ingredients that our earth produces. This is not some weird chemical thing created in a science lab. This is from the earth. The consumption of the combination of pre and probiotic helps support the biome in your belly. Kind of like, I always equate it to my septic system. You can't put certain things in a septic system because then it messes with the microbials and it can't break stuff down, and then you get a problem. The same thing is true with your belly. You need the Ridix, okay? And then there's the enzyme blend. Enzymes are catalysts that facilitate those chemical reactions. Digestive enzymes break down the food that you eat, and that helps with nutrient absorption. So not only are these enzymes helping us break down the food we're eating, it's helping us absorb what's in Shakeology. Not only is Shakeology created in such a way that we will absorb it better, we've added this enzyme blend that helps it. Anything that ends with ASE in your Shakeology is an enzyme. But bam, okay? And that's what will break it down. And one more thing I want to talk about with you guys, just because the question was asked by one of our coaches who was genuinely concerned about the vegan Shakeology ingredients. And if you've ever looked at the label, you'll know that it's lacking compared to the regular Shakeology label. And that is because they are actually derived, the ingredients are derived from a whole orange and whole leaves of spinach, whereas even though it's still whole ingredients in your normal Shakeology, it's not vegan. So I want you guys to understand they're still fortified with vitamins and minerals. However, the whole food is used. Yeah, because this is why. Not every orange is the same size, and not every orange has the same amount of vitamin C in it. Not every spirulina, whatever, has the same amount of this in it. That's why they can't provide vitamin and mineral information. That doesn't mean it's not there, and it's likely comparable to what you see. And this is from Shakeology's website, by the way. I went and hunted this down. It's likely comparable, if not better, than what you're going to get in your regular formula. It's just that they would be taking a stab in the dark. because it's the whole ingredients rather. And I don't want to say it's over processed. You're still not getting isolates. It's still processed as a whole. It's just a different method in order to say that it's vegan, right? Because we can't have any of that other stuff. You can't have that whey. You can't have those things getting it in there. So those are my that's basically my Shakeology information for you guys today. And one other thing I want you guys to note, there's no other company that's as transparent with how its ingredients are made, from where they are derived. Most other companies you can find maybe how it's made. Rarely can you find from where the ingredients are from, let alone how it's processed. Shakeology tells you all of that, and it lets you come and see. And the final thing, even if you aren't a tree hugger, you need to know that Darren Olean is very passionate about making sure he's not leaving a carbon footprint, and that he's getting these from sustainable places. So he's sustainable. So he's not taking ingredients and depleting areas, and then we won't be able to get that stuff anymore. Like when we thought about moving to corn fuel and we realized we couldn't do it because we're going to deplete our corn resources in America. These are sustainable resources. And not only does it do that, it actually helps the communities in other countries because it's giving them work. It's creating jobs. So this is like, honestly, you guys, when you get to talk about Shakeology, you should be excited, because when I say there's nothing like it out there, I mean it. And we are blessed for how open and active and involved Darren Olean is in this process, because he's so passionate. He makes sure we know what's going on. And a lot of other companies, there's a lot of quiet, hidden scenes behind the process, and they don't know as much as we do, even though they sound like they do, because they have a couple ingredients and then they share the effects. We know so much more. So like Dawn and I have said before, one day a week, in addition to personal development, spend 5 minutes, go listen to the Shakeology podcast, go look up an ingredient, get some tools in your tool belt, because as I was reading this, I was like, oh, this stuff is so good. Why would I ever skip my shake? This is the best thing I can consume. That's all the information I gathered.
I was going to share, so as Christine was reading, all her research, and I know my brain kind of hurt for a minute, because there's a lot of stuff, and there's a lot of big words. And I'm not a big word person. Guess what? All of that is literally in a nice PDF form that's been updated to include the new formulation. I'm going to show you real quick. It's in your back office. I was thinking about, sharing links and whatnot in here, but no, we need to be going to our back office. But no joke, I know you can't really see it, but it's the chart, and it tells you what the ingredient is, the ingredient type. It tells you if it's a pre-probiotic, then it tells you what's included in that, and then how it works in your body. You need to have this. This is one of those things that I have saved right on my computer. So when I'm messaging somebody and they ask, I can pull it up and know it. I was going to share a quick example, literally from Wednesday. I've been kind of talking back and forth with a woman about Shakeology. I really want her to give it a try. But she's got some heart stuff going on. She had a cardiologist appointment. And so I was like, hey, take this letter with you to your doctor, have them check it out. And if they're comfortable with it and you want to try it, let's give it a shot. What's it gonna hurt? In the meantime, it was not the right doctor's appointment. She didn't bring the letter, but I followed up because I wrote down that I had to follow up because we're tracking, right? And so I followed up with her, and she said, well, I didn't bring it to the doctor, but I was looking at the nutritional information you sent me, and it has 7 grams of sugar. And I try to have 6 or less because of my diabetes. Okay? I know Christine's brain was ping, ping, ping. I know exactly what I'm going to say, right? Melanie, do you know exactly what you were going to say to this person right away? Come on. I know you do. No? Yes, you do. I know. You're still not talking after running our last call. But the first thing I said was, yes, it does have 7 grams of sugar, but it's not added sugar, right? We're not adding stuff. One of the reasons that some of these other companies have less sugar is because they chemically engineer it in a way to remove sugar from fruit and vegetables. They're removing it, which means
in the process they destroy the nutritional value of said fruit and vegetable.
So I kind of like when people are saying like I'm having this thing as I'm like stripping down because it just got hot. Hold on. Woo! Totally got hot in here.
You got passionate.
I know. So yeah, so that's what I was trying to, and I like to let people know, hey, if you're getting something that says it has all of these superfoods and there's like no sugar, there's a problem. So anyway, I let her know, hey, it's not added sugar, but on top of that, this has a super low glycemic index. Like this is good for you if you're a diabetic, right? Then I mentioned that and then I followed it up with some FAQ type information from Beachbody. Guys, when you are sharing, like, first I gave her like the simple answer, hey, this is it in English, but don't take my word for it. Let me give you some research and information so that you can check it out. I wasn't like, oh, here's this article, go read it. Because, I mean, that's not cool, and who's going to read that? I needed to first just share in English. But when you go to share a third-party tool, go to Beachbody. Do not go to Google. Now, Google to take you to Beachbody, but if it's not an article that Beachbody's putting out, like, don't use it. Even if it's fully endorsing Beachbody, because it's probably written by a coach or somebody affiliated with Beachbody, so whoever you're sending it to is going to just try to rip it apart. So use the Beachbody FAQs and information. It's got, like, the legit science stuff. So I was able to send her the information on the glycemic index so she could see it for herself and question it. And then she wrote back, and her response was, I do think I need to give this a try. So, of course, we have to follow up again. But as you're sharing that, like Christine said, when you're talking to pre and probiotic, give them the simple answer like, hey, this is why you need both. And it's in one shake. You don't need to take this prebiotic shake and then this probiotic pill. It's in one shake. And here's some more information. Don't just throw the third-party tool at people. Because I used to do that far too often. Somebody would ask a question. I'm like, oh, here it is. Look, take a look at this trifold. It'll give you all no. Anyway, sorry. Okay.
In addition to that, when people tell me that, like someone asked me about a good snack and I said carrots, they said, don't carrots have so much sugar? Please don't be afraid to ask people, okay, tell me what you eat all day. When they tell you that they don't want 7 grams of sugar, ask them what they eat all day. And then I want you to be ballsy and go through the crap that they just give you and think, how much sugar do you think you're actually consuming a day? And in addition to what Dawn said, one of the people that comes to workout class used to not be able to eat bananas. She's diabetic. Because of Shakeology and its low glycemic index and what it does to blood sugar, she can actually have a banana with her shake and it doesn't spike. It doesn't raise her blood sugar to a dangerous level. This stuff is amazing. But I am all about asking that question, especially when someone's like, oh, I don't have time to work out. What does your day look like? Well, I can't have 7 grams of sugar. Well, what are you eating right now? And they're going to tell you, or like the other day when someone just asked me how I can have the Energized while I'm pregnant. And I was like, well, it's only 100 milligrams of, and so we talk about it. She's like, oh, I guess I could switch that out for my Diet Coke.
Well, and with that, 2 other things to consider, because Christine shared a story recently of somebody, and I want you guys to be mindful of some of the things that people are going to come back at you with. One of the things that people are going to ask is it organic? Right? I don't know if you guys have had that question. I had somebody flat out tell me they wouldn't touch it because it wasn't organic. And I was like, okay, well, that's fine, but because they're like super earthy. And I was like, but you can actually see where each and every one of these ingredients was taken from. If you want to put in the effort, you can look up all 70 ingredients and get there. And this is why it's not certified organic. And then I was able to provide the follow-up information. The other thing, it's not FDA approved. Okay? So how many things are people eating? Like, Christine, what was your example? Because it was, oh, I know you've got a kid.
Thank God it's not.
but yeah, that's like had an awesome example of FDA approval stuff recently. Like, aren't fruit snacks, was it that you said, are FDA approved?
Or the fact that you can consume meat, FDA approved meat, and not know what country it came from?
Yeah.
Fruit snacks are FDA approved. I'm pretty sure Pop is FDA approved. I'm pretty sure McDonald's hamburgers are FDA approved. Pink slime, y'all. The Federal Drug Administration. Oh, I I can't even. FDA approved.
Yeah. So I just want to make sure
Actually, those are probably not so bad, but yeah, no, there's.
those that are watching this recording,
To
you know,
get an FDA approval, you spend a pretty penny, which would drive the cost of Shakeology up. To get an organic stamp, you would have to pay a pretty penny, which would drive the cost of Shakeology up. Those things are just dollars to fund these federal bureaus.
well, and there's an additional reason why it's not certified organic, and it had to do with there are a couple ingredients that like they just can't get organic, like it's not possible. So I should have looked that up before I brought this whole point up. But you know, be mindful. These are some of the buzz things that people are going to come back at you with, and don't freak out about it. Like, it's super nice when you're having a conversation on the computer and like the person doesn't respond for a day, and then you have a day to get back to them to look it up. But you know, some of the stuff like you want to know, especially like I said, I ran into somebody at the post office that asked me about Shakeology, and I needed to know. I didn't have to know everything off the top of my head, but I needed enough to keep them interested, to keep the conversation going, so that you know, when I was on my way out, I was able to say, when I get home, I will send you X, Y, and Z. We want to make sure that we're continuing to keep the conversation going. We need to know our stuff, but we also need to make sure we know enough right on hand all the time. I'm not going to carry around my ingredient chart all the time, right? I mean, I might take a picture and keep it in my phone, but I mean, how credible am I going to look? Christine is constantly getting people coming to her about Shakeology because she posts consistently about it, but then when they ask her, she can answer questions. It's ridiculous how many people will buy from her that have already talked to other coaches because the other coaches can't answer the questions. Like an absurd amount of people, like a jealousy amount of people over the course of a year because she knows her stuff. And so it's not enough to just post about it. Like, just because I drink it every day doesn't mean somebody else is going to drink it. I do a lot of stupid things every day that people aren't going to do. So we can't just need to know it. Anyway, I know. I dabble. I get human interaction.
Melanie, elevator pitch.
Well, ask me a question.
Hey, Melanie, how come you drink Shakeology all the time? I see you posting it. Why do you drink that?
Because it's amazing and it tastes good, and it's my daily dense nutrition that I don't get from the diet that from all the foods that I eat every day, because I don't like vegetables that much. And I can hide my spinach in there and get a crazy amount of spinach, and it still tastes good.
It's pretty good. That's true to you. That's true to you. And you're going to speak to a lot of people who hate vegetables. And Carl Deichler used to hate vegetables. He's better now because Shakeology's changed his taste buds. But he used to say, I am a human trash can. And this is the one thing I put in my body that makes it, that I know is good for it. That's all he would say. That's what he would say.
And it gets me through my day. It totally does. Like, lately, I have switched. I don't know if you guys know, but I switched it to about 11:30, 12 o'clock. I drink it because that's by the time I was taking Kendall to school, and I was super hungry, but I didn't want to be starving by the time I got back. So, yeah, that's part of my pitch, but that's only if I was like, I'm really good at pitches online because I can yeah, I'm really good at typing.
Right.
But I don't do it very often.
I have a couple of my responses saved right on my computer. So when I'm doing a bunch of messages, bam, click. You know, it's not that I'm scripting it. It's my words that I had already, like, when they say, why do you drink it? This is why I drink it. Plain and simple.
It's okay to have a saved script if it's your word. We kind of talked about that on Taryn's call yesterday. If you have something that is always your answer when somebody asks you something, or you have something that you always say when you're inviting, it's okay to save that. Copy and paste as long as it's your words. Go ahead.
I always come up with a really good answer to after somebody has asked me a question. I go home and then I think about it. I'm like, oh, because it was actually someone talked to Steph, and they were like, no, I just don't do that shake thing. I take my vitamins and stuff. And I'm like, but like, you don't absorb vitamins in your body. Like, when you take them, like, it might help a little, but like, your body's not actually absorbing those. And so when like my post today, I'm like, I don't take vitamins. I drink Shakeology because that's where I get all my vitamins from. So Yeah, I come up with great answers after someone talks to me.
Well, that's why it's good to save them, so you have them in your arsenal.
Yes.
Well, and now you have that. Next time, you will never not tell somebody that again. Well, and the thing that I commonly get is so many people will, shoot, sorry. I had one of my cold invites just messaged me back. Sorry. One of my donuts just messaged. Anyway, sorry. Thanks for everything's right on your phone. Lost it. What was I going to say? Melanie, where was I going? Oh, one of the things that I get from people all the time, people that say they want to lose 20 pounds, they don't want to do a shake, they just want to eat real food. And so my response is, this is real food. You see what happens if you let it expire. This is real food. And I let them know that real food, even if you are farming it yourself and pulling it out of the ground, it does not have the same nutritional value that it had 100 years ago. Even if you are eating as clean and healthy as you possibly can, your body doesn't get what it needs. And so we need to be mindful, because a lot of you are going to get people say, I just don't do shakes. Because they've got this mentality that, shakes are... No, this is not a meal replacement. This is not a protein shake.
Well, Carl made a good point. They should be suspicious. They've been duped over and over from Nutri-Slim and Slim Fast and this and that and the. They are rightfully a little bit skeptical, and they should be. And we were too, and we have to remind them of that. I was never going to drink a shake. You couldn't pay me, let alone have me pay to do it. So I completely get it. Completely. And you guys have to be willing to relate to them. Melanie, thank you for sharing your elevator pitch. Dawn, thank you for sharing yours in the beginning. Thank you guys for being here. Anybody have anything they want to add before we wrap it up?
Yes. I had someone the other day, they just started their Shakeology, and I think it's really important for us to remember that to definitely follow up with people that have got their Shakeology, because they were like, well, I drank it this morning and I was super jittery. The caffeine in it it's too much for me. And I was like, well, you're drinking chocolate, right? And I did have to go research, but the chocolate doesn't really have added caffeine into it. It's got the green tea in it. Mm-hmm. And so, and I told them, I was like, well, what else did you do? And they were like, well, I took a dose of my vitamins, and then I drank a full scoop of Shakeology, and I didn't drink my coffee this morning, and they changed all these things all at once. And I was like, well, you cannot blame that on the Shakeology. I'm like, first of all, start with a half of a scoop. Second of all, make sure you know what's in the Shakeology in case maybe something did adversely react with your body. But none of it did. They were like, oh, maybe it's the niacin.
You're like, do you even know what that is?
Yeah, I'm like, niacin's not going to give you the shake. Come on. And I'm like,
Energize might give you shakes.
Mm-hmm. When I take vitamins, I get really sick. It makes my stomach hurt, and I feel all like dizzy. And
I can't take them.
And then you drink Shakeology right with that. I'm like,
it's probably too much. They probably had a little bit of a vitamin overload, because some of the stuff in Shakeology is like 200% of your daily value, which is fine. It's not going to hurt you, but
no.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I think it's important to remember to follow up and make sure that you have that follow-up elevator talk, that this is what you could try, and just a half of a scoop, and yeah.
Because how many people have you gotten who used to drink Shakeology and stopped drinking it because of it made their stomach hurt, it made them sick, they didn't like the taste, and that's because their coach didn't do exactly that. So yes, the magic's in the follow-up.
Yeah, they were bloated, or they were going to the bathroom too much, or
and then you follow up and ask, how do you typically do with whey? Oh, I can't have whey. Maybe
I'm lactose intolerant. Well, and a lot of people don't realize whey is lactose. But people don't understand that that's a dairy product, and it can cause migraines. So someone will say, "Oh, Shakeology gave me migraines." I'm like, "Try vegan," and it won't. So the more you know. But the only way you can know is by researching and asking to get those questions asked to you. Because if you're not having the conversations, people aren't going to ask. You're not going to have to answer questions, and then you won't need to know. So, and you always have time to look it up, and it's always okay when someone does ask you, especially person to person, if you don't have the answer, it's okay to say, you know what, I think I have the answer, but I want to double check and give you the right information. Can I get back to you? They're not going to think you're stupid. They're going to appreciate you, not just vomiting a bunch of bull crap on them. It's okay. Have integrity in your conversations.
If you do have just another quick pointer, if you do have a conversation with somebody face to face that you don't normally talk to, that maybe you're not friends with on Facebook, get their contact information right then and there. It is awkward and uncomfortable until you get used to doing it. But, you know, I had this conversation with this chick at the post office, and I was like, you know what? I gave her my card so she could look me up on Facebook, and I'm like, no, dummy. I have my phone here. Let me do this right now, because she's never going to do it. She's going to ditch my stuff. And so I was able to get her phone number, which was a bad mistake for her, and her email, and we connected on Facebook right away. So I've been able to communicate back and forth with her. But I'm not saying to be annoying to people, but especially if you see somebody face to face and they ask, you can get home and say, hey, it was awesome following up with you. I'd like to get you some more information if you're still interested. But yeah, I'm getting better at that. Poor people don't know I'm stuck in a camper, so when I see them in real life, I'm like, oh, you're talking to me on purpose?
All right, if you guys can think of anything you want to talk about next week, please let us know. Thank you for joining us live, Melanie and Dawn. And then for those of you that watch us recorded, thank you for your time. If you discover something cool about Shakeology, never be afraid to share with us in the group. Always cool. What's up, Kendall?
And guys, here you go to your back office, just like you would to look up information on a program. Under marketing materials, there's training on Shakeology, there's fact sheets, there's anything that you need to know. Videos, there's a whole YouTube channel dedicated to Shakeology. You have a website dedicated to Shakeology.
Yeah, what I was going to say, when it comes to Shakeology, I use less the Beachbody office and more the Shakeology website, but that's still safe.
What's your Melanie?
So, all right, I'm going to wrap this up before my kids stage a So thank you guys. Thanks for being here. Have an incredible, blessed weekend. Boom.